Okay, tomorrow night is a Seder. So all you parents out there, you want to know, you have limited time. You want to eat afikomen by chatzos. You want to be able to get through the Haggadah so that everybody stays up. You want to know what are the main things that I need to give over to my children, Leil Seder. And for all you Bachrim out there, you want to know, look, what are the main principles that I need to focus on the Seder? Right? You're probably wondering that, Bachrim. Bachrim, are you wondering that? Yes or no? Yes, okay. So what are the main things that I need to focus on at the Seder? So I would like to share with you 7 brief principles that a parent has to give over to their children, that every person saying the Haggadah has to try to focus on. These are very simple ideas. None of them are chidushim. The well-known Ramban at the end of Parsha Spoi, probably the most famous words ever penned by the Ramban. The Ramban says that he's going to tell us a great principle behind the mitzvahs. He says, from the days of Enosh, the hashkafos of man began to become corrupt. Some of them denied the existence of Hashem, and they said the world always existed. Some said maybe there is a God, and maybe He created the world, but He doesn't know what's happening in the world. Or some of them acknowledge that God knows what's happening in the world, but God does not control the everyday affairs of the world. They've turned man into a fish. That there's no divine providence in man's life. And there's no reward and punishment. And therefore, when the Ribbon Shalom performed the miracles of Mitzrayim, he demonstrated the following important principles. You ready for this chiddush? You want to hear chiddush? He demonstrated there's a God. He demonstrated there's a God. Because otherwise, if the world is an accident, how exactly did the Nile River, the mighty Nile River, turn into blood? How did that happen? So well, maybe someone poured food coloring into it. No, it wasn't colored, it was blood. It turned into blood. So who changed nature? The miracles of Mitzrayim demonstrated Sheyesh la'olam Eloika mechadshay. There is a God who every day recreates the world. Now, how did this entity who made blood for the Egyptians, frogs? You know, one year, I want to give a shiur. Why is it of all the makkos, the frogs have the most cachet? You ever wonder about that? Like if you go into the stores, everything is frog paraphernalia. I mean, you could get like these little miniature frogs, jumping frogs, wind-up frogs. What is it about frogs that the Jewish people are so attached to the frogs? You ever wonder about that? One year I think we have to have a share on that. I think it has to do with the fact that the source of being Mekadesh Shem Shamayim is the frogs. The Gemara Pesach says that we make a kavachomer from the Tzvardeya. So and our whole purpose of existence is the Kadesh Shem Shamayim. So we're so connected to the frogs. No? I think that must be the reason. But anyway, how did Hashem know? How did this entity know where the Egyptians live and where the Jews live, only to make the makkos for the Mitzrim? How did he know that? It must be that this God knows what's happening in the world. He knows who's Jewish, he knows who's Egyptian, and he's able to, what they call precision target. Like in Israel, they can't have an all-out war, so they have to do precision targets. That clearly this God knows, and there's divine providence, and he's powerful. Nobody could stop him. There was nothing the mightiest king in the world could do to stop this God. So that proved there's Metzias Hashem. That proved Hashem has Yediyah, he knows. That proved Hashgacha Pratis. That proved God's Yecholes, his ability. You know what else it proved? It proved that there's an institution of prophecy. Because God told Moshe, tomorrow there's going to be blood. Tomorrow there's going to be frogs. Tomorrow there's going to be lice. Oh, that means God communicates with those who He chooses to. Prophecy is the foundation of the whole Torah. So the first thing you need to tell your children, or Bachrim, the first thing you need to tell yourselves, is that I'm saying the Haggadah, and this verifies there's a God in the world. There's a Ribbono Shel Olam. This Ribbono Shel Olam, He knows. He knows what I do. He knows what I think. Even if the lights are off and the door is closed, Hashem knows. Hashem controls specifically everything in this world, what happens to me on the most minute level. It demonstrates Hashem's ability and His nevuah, and that there's a institution of nevuah. So the first thing is Metzias Hashem, okay? Number 2, you need to tell your children Hashgacha Pratis. Number 3, Hashem's ability. Number 4, it demonstrates prophecy. Ready for number 5? If I had a blackboard, I would write on the blackboard. The Haggadah is not history, it's destiny. Everything we read about in the Haggadah, it's not about what happened, but everything that happened is a pre-enactment of what will happen in the future. So you need to tell your children, all of these makos, they will repeat themselves. There will be a splitting of the sea. Everything we read about in the Haggadah is just the trial run, the rehearsal for the great miracles that will be performed for the Jewish people with the coming of Mashiach. It's the Haggadah, the recitation of Haggadah is an exercise in believing in the Gula Shlema. Number 6. We're going to say in the Berchas Hamazon, Harachamon, Huyan Chilenu Yom Shekulei Tov, Yom Shekulei Arach, Yom Shetzadikim Yoshvim, V'atroisem Barashehem, V'nenem Mizev Hashchina. In a nutshell, Paroi wanted to throw all the boys into the river and let the girls survive. What was the symbolism of that? The great Sefer Bas Ayin of Rabbi Avram Avarish of Tzfas says, Ben represents primary, Bas represents secondary. Primary is the world to come. Secondary is this world. Paroi said, throw the world to come in the river. Forget about Olam Haba. Forget about the world to come. It's all about this world. It's all about your pleasure in this world, your money in this world, your covet in this world. Paroi wanted the Jewish people to forget about the world to come. The meaning of throw the ben into the river is throw, we believe that the world to come is primary and this world is secondary. Paroi wanted to make us forget about the main purpose of our existence. We believe this world is only a preparation for the world to come. One of the most important things to tell your children, and Bachrim, one of the most important things to work on when you say the Haggadah, is that God took us out of the clutches of the Pharaoh who wanted us to forget about the Olam Haba, to tell our children that we believe this whole world is just a preparation for the great banquet of Olam Haba. And finally, Hashem did all these things for us. We were in a country nobody ever escaped from. And Hashem completely altered the laws of nature. He destroyed the Egyptians. He destroyed the power of the Pharaoh. And He took us out of the land. He split the sea. So what's our obligation? Our obligation is to have gratitude to Hashem. All of Torah and mitzvahs is gratitude to Hashem. When we're lying in our bed and it's hard to get up, we have to think, you know what? Hashem gave me back my soul. Hashem gives me the ability to see, to hear, to think. My heart beats, my lungs work. Hashem gave me a bed, a pillow, a cover. Hashem gave me a toothbrush. Use it, please, with toothpaste. Mouthwash would also help. Hashem gave me a sink. Hashem gave me a shower. Hashem gave me food. So the least I could do is get out of bed and say, thank you very much. The main avodah of the Haggadah is to have gratitude to Hashem. Hakaras hatov. And it starts by telling your children, say thank you to your mother. Your mother made all this food. Say thank you to her. She slaved away for many weeks preparing for Pesach. Say thank you to her. Or maybe you're going away. Say thank you to your father that he was able to pay for this. Say thank you to your parents, because if you have gratitude to your parents, then you'll start to feel gratitude to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, which is the basis of all Avodas Hashem. Say, why do I have to put on tefillin? Because God gave you an arm. So at least thank Him that He gave you an arm. Why do I have to put up a mezuzah? Because He gave you a house. You know, we think of it, God, I put up the mezuzah, so give me reward. Nah, you're behind the 8 ball. He gave you the house, so you thank Him by putting up the mezuzah. Now you want to be rewarded for it? But the truth is, Hashem rewards us for it. But think about how magnanimous Hashem is. Because all the mitzvahs we do, the Medrash says, Mi kadmani v'shilem. Who preceded me that I should pay them? All the mitzvahs we do is just payback for what Hashem did for us. But Hashem is so kind that not only does He give us first, but He then rewards us for thanking Him. So here are the 7 things that we should focus on, to give over. That there is a reality of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That HaKadosh Baruch Hu controls the world, hashgacha pratis, specifically tailor-made for every country, for every city, for every nationality, for every individual, every moment of the day. Number 3, God's ability. Nobody could stop Him. There's nothing anybody could do in any way to even slow down the ability of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We see from the miracles of Yetzias Mitzrayim, number 4, Nevuah. Everything that happened was predicted beforehand. Number 5, all the miracles of Yetzias Mitzrayim were a precursor, a pre-enactment to the coming of the Geula. Olam haba. Rav Miller used to say, most people don't even spend 30 seconds a day thinking about Olam haba. If you would stop 30 seconds a day and think about Olam haba, you're a head taller than anybody else. Nobody's thinking about Olam haba. People are thinking about, when's the rabbi going to be finished so I could get my bagel? Now, I'm sorry to inform you today that there are no everything bagels. Only plain bagels. Because everything bagels are too crummy for Erev Pesach. I sincerely apologize for that inconvenience. But in order to keep things clean, we have... But people are thinking about bagels. Who's thinking about the world to come? That's one of the most important things we have to think about the night of the Seder. And finally, when you walk away from the Seder, and you sang Echad mi Yodea, Shui, what niggin do they use in the Goldberg house for Echad mi Yodea?
I don't remember.
You don't remember? Yehuda, what do they sing in the Glatstein house for Echad mi Yodea? You're not going to sing it? Why? It's good. Naftali, what do they sing? Reb Nissen, what do they sing by you? Echad mi Yodea. Which one? Oh yeah, that one? Echad mi Yodea, Echad ani Yodea. How about for Chad Gadya? When you finish Chad Gadya, V'yasa kadosh baruch hu v'shachal malach hamaves v'shachal. I should wrap it up? When you finish that, you should walk away with a feeling of great hakaras hatov to HaKadosh Baruch Hu for taking us out of Mitzrayim. Because if He wouldn't have taken us out of Mitzrayim, you would not be able to get a bagel on the way out of the Shiur. We would not be here. We would not have Torah. We would not have mitzvahs. We would not be banim l'Hashem Elokeichem. So these are some things to think about, and everybody should be matzliach in this great avodah of Leil Seder and a Chag Kosher v'Sameach. Shkoyach.